My name's Aaron Cairo. I'm a sponsored skateboarder from the San Francisco Bay Area, and today I'm going to teach you how to heal from an injury. We get this question all the time, at least once a month, maybe even several times a day. Hey, how do you heal from an injury? What should I do? What should I look for? And I want to preface this video with saying, I am not a doctor. I am a skateboarder. I am not a doctor. I cannot give medical advice. I will not give medical advice. So that's the first thing is first. I guess the best way for me to explain this is to go over my injuries and tell you my personal stories, and then give you some of the little bits and pieces of advice that I have from 27 years of skateboarding injuries. The most common injury that I get skateboarding is I roll my ankle. I sprain my ankle. So rolled ankle is when your ankle goes like that. It literally curves to the side. Your foot goes like that, and your leg is still that way. And it's a bend, and it basically rips or tears the tendon or stretches the tendon out that is on the side of your ankle. And it hurts a lot, and there's a lot of pain involved with that. I have broken that same ankle that I sprained quite a bit. It is my right ankle. I've broken it in 2 places before. So every time I hurt myself, first of all, mentally, every time I hurt myself, I think, well, I always knew this day was coming. That's the end of skateboarding. And I have to tell you, after getting hurt so many times, none of them were the end of skateboarding, because your body is designed to heal itself, and if you take care of your body, it will heal itself. So again, I am not a medical doctor. This is not medical advice. It's a YouTube video. You probably shouldn't get your medical advice on YouTube anyways, but as a professional skateboarder, I'm gonna give some of my knowledge to you and hope that it helps you in some way. So after I sprained my ankle, the first thing I do is I tighten up the laces nice and tight. You want to keep the swelling down. And then when you go to the doctor, and yes, please go to the doctor. You should always go to the doctor to make sure that you have proper medical treatment and make sure they're looking at everything they need to look at. You always want to ensure that nothing is broken, because if you have a broken bone and you don't know it, the bone can heal incorrectly, and then you can have problems for the rest of your life because your bone was here and then it broke and then it healed that way, and now you can no longer move your wrist or move your ankle or do the flick of the kickflip that you could do before, because your ankle bone was in the wrong position and it healed incorrectly. So you have to go to a doctor, get an x-ray, make sure that things are in the proper order. I've also heard, never had this happen to me, but I've heard that there are times when some bone will break, it won't get proper attention, it'll heal incorrectly, and then they have to re-break it. What the heck? You have to re-break the broken bone in order to get it back into a good position for it to heal correctly. Okay, so when you go to the doctor and they do the x-ray and they tell you, yes, it's broken, or no, it's not, they will tell you what to do. With my wrist, I thought I was gonna have a whole cast over my wrist. But nope, they just said wear a brace over your wrist, and that is it. So that's fine, they tell you what to do, and generally they'll use this thing, it's RICE, R-I-C-E. It stands for rest, ice, compression, and elevation. So we're gonna take these things one at a time. Rest. Don't go out and skateboard the next day. Give yourself rest. That means get good sleep. It does not mean stay up all night, play video games, and all of that, eat a bunch of junk food. No, rest. Eat healthy, nourishing food, organic food if possible, organic, good, healthy, nourishing food, because your body has a broken bone or a sprain or a pulled muscle or something, and your body needs to actually go and repair that. If your body doesn't have the proper nutrition, it cannot go repair that. So let's say you need calcium because you broke a bone. Well, make sure that in your diet you have calcium. So you're gonna have to actually look into what you're eating while you, yes, the R, rest. Get good sleep, take proper rest, take time off of your skateboard, off of your sport, off of whatever it is you're doing, and get proper rest. Give yourself time. The doctor will generally say, well, this broken wrist is gonna take from 4 to 6 weeks to heal. So if you're resting up, you're gonna be closer to that 4 mark. Eat good food, rest as much as possible. You get closer to that 4 mark, but make sure that you rest. The next one is ice. You can ice. There are different schools of thought on this. Some people say ice is good. Some people say heat is good. Again, I'm not a doctor. Check with your doctor. For me, I will ice, and I will use heat, and I will use ice, and then I'll use heat. I'll kind of go back and forth between the both of them, and I will use that. I don't like to use any kind of like rub-on painkillers or anything like that, because really, this is my personal viewpoint, my personal opinion on it. At the end of the day, what you're doing is you're numbing an area. So there is a helpful thing. I'm gonna say this sentence, it might sound strange, but if your wrist is in pain, it's your body telling you to rest the wrist. It's telling you, do not do push-ups. Do not use that wrist. It's in pain. So don't do that. So if you're just gonna make it numb and then continue going, you won't heal up fast enough, you won't heal correctly. It's better to just do just the ice and rest it and ice it and rest it and ice it. And by doing that and eating good, healthy food, it will heal. Now the next one, C, compression. So you can get what's called an ace bandage. You can wrap it around the wrist or the ankle or whatever it is. And on this, you're bringing the swelling down. So oftentimes you can put ice on, which will bring the swelling down, and then wrap it in compression, which will help to bring the swelling down and keep it down. And then the last one after compression is elevation. So your heart, which is right here, is pumping blood to all the different parts of your body. If your wrist is injured and you have your wrist below your heart, well, you have blood flowing down and going in, and that can increase the inflammation, that can make your wrist more inflamed than it needs to be. So again, on the example of your wrist, if it's hurt, keep it above your heart. So if you're playing video games, maybe you want to lay down and hold your controller up, whatever position you can be in, but make sure that you're doing all those things: rest, ice, compression, elevation. You'll have different schools of thought and different doctors that will tell you different things, but the basic thing you need to know is do what your doctor says. They are there to help you, and they will give you good advice, and they can do things like x-rays, and they have more tools and various things that they can use to look into that ankle to make sure there's not a bone out of order, a broken bone, or anything strange. And then this single piece of advice that I'm going to give you right now is so instrumental, and it's so huge. It will help a ton, especially with any kind of skateboard injury and getting back to battery. It's this right here: physical therapy. You got to do physical therapy. You have absolutely got to do it. You can go to a physical therapist. They'll give you a series of exercises. Sometimes they give you a whole program and they want to see you once a week or once every 3 days or whatever it is. But do the physical therapy, because let's say my wrist, I recently broke my wrist. I only have so much range of motion. I can move my wrist about there. On my other hand, look at that. Look at how far I can move my wrist. On this one, it's like half of the way. So the more I do exercises and physical therapy, I will get that motion back in the wrist. But the reason I'm getting it back is because of those exercises. And those exercises are about repetition. You cannot just do them once and say, well, I did the exercises, I'm feeling better. No, you gotta keep it going. And another thing that I think is helpful is after you get the exercises, even after your wrist fully heals, keep doing some exercises. Maybe you're not doing the exact same exercises that you were, but do some exercises to keep that wrist moving, keep the motions going, because you're gonna continue building your ability to stretch that muscle, move your body, and all of that is gonna help you grow and improve and get better and better and better at your sport. Now, mentally, like I said, every time that I hurt myself really bad, or even hurt myself not so bad, I go, well, that's the end, Aaron Cairo. That's the end of the skateboard career. You can no longer skateboard. Just because you're in so much pain, you're in shock. Your body is in shock and it's in pain, and it's telling you, stop. Do not continue going on this route. You're hurting yourself. So you gotta have the mental attitude that you're gonna get healthy, get better, keep going, push through it, and do things that motivate you. Do things that motivate and inspire you. If you do all of these things, you rest up, you do the ice compression elevation, you do the physical therapy, you will actually come out of that injury stronger and in a better position, both physically and mentally, than before you went into that injury. If you do all those proper things, because look, when you fall down, you get hurt, you learn something new about it. Now the next time you go into that same thing, it can be scary because you fell down there before, but you're going into that more educated and knowing better what not to do and what you can do. So I hope this helps you. I hope this provides a different insight, some additional information that you may not have been thinking of. So again, just to recap, if you injure yourself, please go see a doctor. After the doctor, see a physical therapist. If you go to the physical therapist, they give you exercises, do them as much as possible. They might say, do this daily. Well, for you, because you're a professional, do it. You can ask your physical therapist, can I do it twice a day? Can I do it 3 times a day? And they will generally say, yes, the more the better. As long as it isn't causing you pain, do the exercise, the more the better. The better, the better, the better. So do what your doctor says, rest, ice, compression, elevation, do physical therapy, get the help you need, take the time. I know mentally you're like, I have to skateboard. I want to be skateboarding right now. It's the most important thing to me. All my friends are getting better. It's the summertime. I want to skateboard. I'm missing out on everything. But no, you got to let yourself heal. If you do not let yourself heal up correctly, you can be in a lifetime of pain rather than 4 to 6 weeks of proper healing. Take care of yourself. You are important. You deserve proper health care, nutrition, all of this stuff. You're important. You need to take care of yourself. So take that 4 to 6 weeks or whatever it is to fully heal and then come back stronger. Take some time to edit some videos, watch some videos, watch various movies that inspire you. Do motivating and inspiring things. Do not go down into the depths of, oh my gosh, I'll never skateboard again, my life is over. I have been there. I've been to some of the deepest, darkest places, and I can tell you, just keep looking up, keep pushing forward. You will come through this, and it will get better. You will heal that injury, and you can come back stronger than you were before, and it will be awesome. And I hope that this video has given you some motivation, inspiration, and will help you keep going someday when you need it the most. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love making videos like this. I love teaching, inspiring, and motivating. It is my purpose. It is the reason why I started Braille Skateboarding, to help skateboarders all over the world grow, push themselves, become better, get new abilities, learn new tricks on their skateboards. That's my purpose, and I hope you guys enjoy being a part of this awesome skateboard community.
With the Braille Army Plus membership, you get discounts on all of your skateboard gear, literally everything. 10% off skateboards, wheels, trucks, complete skateboards, helmets, shoes, accessories, literally anything we have on the BrailleSkateboarding.com website, you get 10% off. So get Braille Army Plus. It's everything a skater needs.
Please do me a favor, leave me a comment down there and let me know any other videos you want to make. I love, like I said, I love the teaching, motivating, and inspiring, and I would love to hear from you what you need help with or what video you would like me to make next. Check out all those videos right there. Subscribe, like, leave a comment below, and you, yes you, heal up those injuries, never stop, join Braille Army Plus, and learn how to ride a skateboard. I got your back. It's go time.